Hello, this is To Your Health, your television and online source for veteran medical and health information from the Phoenix VA healthcare system. I'm your host, Paul Coupeau. Today we're going to catch up with Dr. Sam Aguayo, the Phoenix VA's Chief of Research, to find out how the VA is educating and treating our vets with diabetes. Later, Chef Greg will step us through how to make a healthy Italian dish, and then we'll take a close look at the life of one of our returning warriors and how the Phoenix VA is here to help them acclimate to the civilian world. First, we'll take a close look at a serious subject affecting a number of our military personnel. Stephanie Dove is the Phoenix VA's Military Sexual Trauma Coordinator. I sat down with Stephanie to find out how the VA is helping our men and women who have been victims of sexual assault or harassment in our military. We're talking about military sexual trauma. Tell us what it is.
Military sexual trauma is defined as sexual assault or sexual harassment that occurs to an active duty military service member. Now that definition is regardless of relationship to the perpetrator, regardless of geographic location. It can occur on base or off base. And in terms of the relationship to the perpetrator, it can be also a spouse, a member, civilian, or really anybody that the service member comes into contact with.
This affects both men and women?
It does, absolutely. Last year at the Phoenix VA, about 2,000 people screened positive for military sexual trauma, and nearly half of them were men. So that statistic holds true nationally as well.
Wow, it's a terrible reality. What is the VA doing to help veterans who have experienced this?
The VA has a range of services, including inpatient, outpatient, residential treatment options. We also have a military sexual trauma coordinator at every medical center who makes sure that we train all of the providers who are working with survivors of military sexual trauma. Doctors, nurses, LPNs, other social workers, to be sensitive to issues related to military sexual trauma, to create a warmer environment in which survivors of MST can seek care. Mm-hmm. We also screen every veteran who comes to the VA for military sexual trauma and offer them services if they're interested. And we provide those services free of charge. All medical and mental health treatment related to military sexual trauma is free to veterans.
So the screening, does that take place in a specific location or a specific clinic here, or does that occur anywhere where a veteran may be seeking health care in the hospital?
Well, as soon as the veteran registers for care at the VA, an alert goes up in their chart for the first provider that sees them to screen them. And so that's why it's so important that we train anyone who might be doing that clinical reminder on how to do that in a sensitive way and in a way that will make the veterans feel more comfortable about disclosing that kind of information.
If a veteran's experienced military sexual trauma during their career and now they're coming to VA, how do they get help?
There are a number of ways and a number of people that they can reach out to. I would really encourage any veteran who's interested in connecting to care to talk to whichever provider they're most comfortable with. That could be a primary care provider, a nurse, a social worker, or if they don't have a provider that they're comfortable with, they can call the sexual trauma coordinator, the MST coordinator at the medical center, and talk to that person about how to get connected to care.
This is definitely an important program, and it's great that we're helping these veterans, and thank you for coming in and telling us about it today.
You're welcome.
Stick around. Our Army veteran volunteer reporter Christian Normandy meets with Phoenix VA Supervisory Recreational Therapist Lynn Hamble to show you how you can properly use a simple stability ball in your own home.
us about the exercise ball, Lynn.
Okay, well this is a stability ball. It's actually a 55 centimeter stability ball.
Okay.
And we use them a lot for balance training and course training.
Okay.
A lot of people have trouble with balance, especially as they get older. So we've actually been able to help people prevent falls by doing some exercises on the stability ball.
Okay. Now, does the size matter? By the size of a human will determine the size of the ball they should use?
Yes, and different manufacturers have different sizes, so, and they rate them for different weights.
Okay.
So this ball actually is very heavy duty. It's static weight of 2,250 pounds. So pretty much if you have somebody that's 400 or 500 pounds, which we sometimes have to exercise, this ball will hold them. The height goes, because when you sit on it, you want your legs to be at a 90-degree angle.
Okay.
So they come in 45, 55, 65, and 75 centimeters. Most of the common ones are 55 and 65.
Okay.
So if you were to purchase a ball, you'd want to look at the box, the manufacturer, make sure it's weight for your weight, and make sure it's height for your height.
So what's the proper way to sit on a stability ball?
Okay, you want to come around the front of the ball. So
Okay.
come around the front of the ball, and you want to sit in the center of the ball. So sit in the center of the ball. And when you sit on the ball, you want to bring your legs even with your hips. Okay. Because normally when you sit on it, your legs are going to want to go wide because it gives you more stability. Well, we want to activate the core. In order to activate the core, you bring your legs in, and the hip kind of locks out your quad muscles. Now, by tucking your stomach in, the brain is telling this muscle, I want this to keep me stable. So sitting on the ball is all about stability. Just sitting on this ball, an hour a night watching a TV show, you'd be working your core muscles. And a lot of people don't work them, so it's really important to do that.
So when you're sitting, you should be consciously thinking about your ab muscle tightening up. And
Absolutely.
That's what you're working, that's what this position is working right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what you're doing. But now you have very good balance. There's a lot of people that sit on them and are really unstable. You have good balance, you could add exercises.
Okay.
So we're going to take some light weights, and it's really important when you're on the stability ball, you don't do heavy weights. Balance ball training is about stability, it's not about muscle toning.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you some light weights there, and what I want you to do is put your arms down to the side, and you're going to curl right, left. So you're going to go alternating, there you go. And what you were looking at, it's really important to do this in front of a mirror.
Okay.
If you're in front of a mirror, you would watch, and the key points you're watching for is you're watching for the waist, any movement in the waist.
Okay.
You're watching your ankles and your knees. So you're trying to keep that ball still by moving that.
Okay.
So that's really good.
So slow and controlled then?
Slow and
Just like I'm
controlled,
doing here? Okay.
and it's about being stable.
Okay.
So if I'm watching you, I'm watching to see that there's no movement of that ball.
Okay.
If there is, you want to tighten this.
Okay.
So you're going to keep that tight.
I'm feeling some tightness in my legs too. That's normal?
That's normal because your leg muscles want to do the balancing.
Okay.
This isn't used to working.
Okay.
So the legs want to pull out, the legs want to keep you stable. So now, because you did that really good, we can go to a higher level.
Okay.
And a higher level is, I'm going to stand behind you because I always like to spot because I don't want you to fall off that ball.
Thank you.
So you're going to lift your left leg off the ground just about 2 inches.
Okay.
There you go. And you see how less balanced you were when you did that?
Much less, yes.
Your ankle is wobbling, your hips wobbling, and your whole body tilted.
Sure.
So if you were in front of a mirror, you could see that. So now, curl this arm 5 times. Oh, look at that, balance is off.
I feel it wobbly in my ankle too.
Mm-hmm, yeah?
That's normal though.
Yeah, you'd only want to do it 5. And once your form breaks down, if you can only do 3 good ones, that's fine.
Okay.
You don't need to do 5, 10, but more's not better, better's better.
Okay.
So it's not how many you do. You can put your foot down.
All right.
Let's try the other side.
Okay. Would you say about 2 inches off the ground?
Yeah,
Okay.
and this way, if you feel yourself getting unbalanced, you can do a kickstand.
Okay.
You can put your foot down. There you go. One side, that side looks like a little better. You can see your posture's a little more erect. You still have some wobbling. Your knee just crashed
feel
out
it.
a little
Yep,
bit.
yep.
Yeah, that fell underneath there. Bring it over there. There you go. Oh, look at that.
Whoa,
Look at
yeah.
that when we put you in the right position. So this is about getting in the right position.
Okay.
Very good. Put your foot down. So from there, if you wanted to do some other exercises, you could change your center of gravity.
Okay.
By doing that, bring the weights up here and come up and bring them together. Okay? So that's, now we've just changed your center of gravity point. So that's going to train the body to do something different. You're doing stability training at a different level.
Again, my stomach should be tight this whole time.
Yes, your stomach should always be tight. So let's lift the left leg.
Left.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. You see how that ball's starting to move?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, keep that stomach tight. Your leg crashed in. You feel pretty stable there? I just want to see what you're doing here.
Ooh,
Don't fall off. Okay. Good. Ankle's really wobbly. This leg's off, and you're totally tilted. If you did this for about within 12 weeks, your body would straighten out because the brain, the neuroreceptors in the brain, adapt really quickly to balance training. That's only a couple of exercises that you can do in the stability ball. The main thing is that you're actually starting to work the core. So there's plenty of other things that you can do. You can go online, there's books, a lot of different things that you can go at higher levels.
So it's a fun, easy way to exercise, great for the core.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much, Lynn.
Here's to the military, past and present, who honorably serve but are so much more. Here's to the moms and dads, the grandmas and grandpas. Here's to the athletes, the adventurous, the determined. Here's to those who have better things to do than worry about their benefits, because now there's e-benefits where you can easily access and track all your VA and DoD benefits online, all in one place. Register for your free account today at ebenefits.va.gov. Then get back out there.
Hello, I'm Sharon Hellman, Director of the Phoenix VA Healthcare System. Our community stands united in support of our veterans, and we at the Phoenix VA are working to ensure our veterans have the health care they need to pursue their dreams here at home. From health care to homelessness, the Phoenix VA is here for our veterans who have earned the care and benefits that our nation provides. A mission eloquently defined by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War when he called on America to care for those who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan. We are fortunate to serve veterans from every conflict and every generation who have defended our nation and the American way of life. I extend my personal appreciation to each and every one of you, and I realize that your service wasn't for power, glory, or wealth, but for our freedom. As Americans, we cannot enjoy our freedom and liberty without your service and extraordinary duty. And for that, we thank you.
Up after the break, we'll introduce you to a fellow vet and learn about his experiences both overseas and back here at home.
As a National Guard or Reserve member, you served your country. Now let VA serve you.
I wouldn't be here today as a successful woman without the help that I receive.
Your VA honors your service by providing a wide range of veterans benefits. From home loans to job training, VA benefits can help with some of life's toughest challenges.
What's important about VA benefits is they don't just touch you as an individual. They can touch your parents, maybe your grandparents, your child.
Go to benefits.va.gov/Guard Reserve to learn more, including how to apply online using e-benefits.
I just finished a master's degree recently, and now I'm working on another degree as well. So the military made that all possible. My veterans benefits made that all possible.
No matter what the time is, apply for your benefits. You earn them. VA is ready to help you.
Achieve your next mission. Learn about and apply for your VA benefits today.
My name is Michael Chesser. I am a doctor at the Phoenix VA. I am a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserve now. I am in the 944th Aeromedical Staging Squadron at Luke Air Force Base. As such, I'm an active reservist. My responsibilities here are primarily teaching. This is a teaching hospital. Primarily supervise the ward teams with the residents and the medical students. Assist in taking care of the patients while we're training them to basically become internal medicine doctors. The CCAT teams are a relatively new concept in the Air Force, and this is part of our combined Army, Navy, Air Force effort to care for, rapidly stabilize, and air evac our sick and wounded out of a combat zone. A CCAT team comprises a doctor, a critical care nurse, and a respiratory therapist, and we are especially trained and equipped to use a highly portable allowance of equipment to fly into an air base or a smaller hospital, grab someone that's in an ICU, and while continuing their ICU level of care, so we can keep them on the breathing machine, the ventilator, all the different drugs that they're getting to maintain their blood pressure or heart rate or whatever they're on, we can maintain that same level of care and then put them into the back of an ambulance, a bus, get them out to the flight line, and then whichever cargo plane is available, which 30 minutes prior may have been carrying cargo, which they've just pulled out, we can now reconfigure that into an airborne hospital, if you will, and continue their same level of care as we take them to another intensive care unit. When I was in Iraq, we did just that, transporting people from the smaller bases in Iraq to our main theater hospital where we were based. And our primary function was to take those same patients out of Balad Air Force Base, now it's called Joint Base Balad, and fly them to Germany. The end result of this is we've actually made history. We have cut the lethality of combat wounds in half. From World War I up until this present conflict, the average rate of death with combat wounds was about 20%. So we are now at about 10%. And our main theater hospital in Iraq at Balad Air Force Base is bragging a 98% survival rate, which again is unheard of. We often think in terms of VA healthcare as the older generations, the World War II crowd, the Korea crowd, the Vietnam crowd now. But this conflict is such that these patients are getting hurt and they will have these long-term issues to deal with, that they need a place to get their primary care that understands what they've been through, why they're different. The average civilian doctor has no idea what happens when an IED goes off and someone's brain gets significantly traumatized in the blast. They really need a place that understands the nature of what happened to them. A lot of veterans work in the VA, and I think that's another reason why our patients feel very comfortable here, is because, like being in a military hospital, they feel among family. I take care of young veterans in the combat zone, and then I get to come home, and I have patients here that were at Tet, were at the battle in Way City, that stormed the beaches of Normandy, that were at Inchon Reservoir. You read a military history text, and I've got to meet someone and care for them that were actually there doing it. And I find that to be an honor and a privilege.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Captain Joshua Brandon.
Bob Murphy.
Kate Weber.
Jerry Reed. Will Sanchez.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
I thought I was losing my mind.
Everything just fell apart.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
I felt isolated. I felt alone.
And I made a choice. I made a choice to go seek treatment.
Treatment has definitely helped me. Treatment has turned my life completely around.
It was like the new beginning for me.
If you're tired of dealing and living the way you are right now, then do something about it.
Quit beating yourself up and go ahead and help. You know, that's basically all I can tell you. But you know you need help, so go get it.
Welcome back. And now Chef Greg is going to show us just how healthy eating Italian can be. Greg, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. So what I thought we'd go over today is to show that we can make a vegetable dish that is really good, simple and easy, and that kids will love. I found that my son and through the years that his friends approve of this dish. So we're going to make a sweet Italian basil vegetable dish. The first part, we'll put a little bit of oil, about a tablespoon of oil into a pan. And I have here some diced long cut carrots. And we'll place that and start the process. Now I start with the carrots first because they need to cook a little bit longer. Okay. So we'll let this go for about 5 or so minutes, get them tender. And then after that we'll add next the mushrooms. And then last but not least, the zucchini. One of the things when making a selection for a vegetable is look for bright and colorful vegetables. Carrots is one of the good examples of a nice, bright, healthy vegetable that provides vitamins and provides added sweetness to the dish.
And kids normally like carrots, so I guess that's a bonus too in getting your families to gather around when this is cooked.
Absolutely.
What kind of oil did you use, and why did you make that choice?
I chose canola oil, and the reason for using canola oil is it's heart healthy. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add our zucchini.
Okay.
And now I'm going to go ahead and add our mushrooms to this. Mushrooms are really good for you. They're full of antioxidants. They actually help with the fight against cancer.
Now, does it matter what order we add these?
As long as you start off with the carrots first, that's the most important. Get them going.
They take a little longer to
Yeah,
cook?
they take a little longer.
Okay.
The zucchini and the mushrooms don't take quite as long, so you can be flexible there.
This is coming along pretty well. So what have we got next?
Okay, so next we have my herbs and spices. Right here I have some garlic, and we'll go ahead and add that now. Followed by sweet basil, a little bit of oregano. We have salt, pepper. I like to use stevia in place of sugar. All right, so let me work in this garlic. All right, we'll go ahead and add our basil. You could use fresh, I'm using dry. A little bit of oregano. And a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Now, if your diet doesn't allow for salt, you don't have to use salt. You can do a salt substitute.
Now, why are you adding all of the seasonings at this point rather than at the beginning?
I always like to add my herbs and spices toward the end, especially when using fresh. Fresh herbs have a tendency to turn bitter.
Okay.
This way we capture all the aromas and flavors without getting a bitter flavor.
There's somewhere people should be setting their stove for this? I mean, you don't want to be too high or...
On this particular dish, I like to do a medium-high heat. It works well. You could probably get away with a medium heat, but I wouldn't go any lower.
Okay.
Now we're ready for plating.
Okay. What's the serving size for this?
I recommend a 4-ounce or a half cup of serving a vegetable. Of course, you could always go more. Vegetables are good for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And are less calories.
Is there any difference between raw vegetables and cooking them like this as far as the nutrients are concerned?
For the most part, cooking them and raw are almost equal. The only time you really need to worry about that is if you boil vegetables in water, you leach out the vitamins.
Okay.
So once you have it plated, I like to top it off with just a little bit of fresh Parmesan shredded. And that completes our dish.
For more information about this recipe and other healthy eating choices, come to the Phoenix VA website at www.phoenix.va.gov. Scroll to the bottom of the page and select Resources, then click on Newsroom and Healthy Living.
Sergeant Michelle Garcia served meritoriously in Iraq and has the medals to prove it. Soon after leaving the Navy, Lieutenant Chris Scott found a job, a home, and started a family of his own. Corpsman Richard Stokely took the skills he learned in Vietnam and put them to good use as a paramedic. But soon after leaving the military, each of these veterans fell on hard times and faced homelessness. Even after Michelle lost all her savings, even after Chris wasn't able to pay his mortgage, and even after Richard battled alcoholism for years, they each reached out for help when they needed it most. A simple phone call put them in touch with a trained professional from the Department of Veterans Affairs. That call got Michelle a place to stay until she could afford one of her own, put Chris in touch with employment assistance, and found Richard a substance abuse program. These veterans are success stories not only for how they were able to help others while serving their country, but for how they were able to let others help them. If you know of or are a veteran in need, make the call.
I will be coming up on retirement, and the VA benefits will play a very important part in my life.
You may have earned valuable veterans benefits from your military service.
I decided that it was time to go to college and pursue my career.
I was able to buy this house.
Learn more about your eligibility, even how to apply online using eBenefits.
The VA benefits made a real difference in my life.
I wouldn't be where I am today if it hadn't been for my VA benefits.
Don't wait. Apply for your VA benefits today.
Diabetes is a growing concern for both veterans and civilians. I spoke with Dr. Sam Aguayo about how the Phoenix VA is helping understand and treat the growing epidemic of diabetes. I have heard VA is a leader in diabetes research. Why is this important?
It's very important because it's an epidemic across the country and veterans are not exempt from that. We have a number of lifestyle choices that may lead to developing type 2 diabetes, the type of diabetes where there is plenty of insulin to go around but it's not acting properly. We call that insulin resistance. And if unchecked, if untreated, diabetes can lead to many complications such as cardiovascular disease, stroke, renal failure, dementia, problems with the muscles and the peripheral nerves. So it can be a devastating disease, and great numbers of our veterans suffer from this medical problem.
What kind of health factors does the diabetes study look at?
In Phoenix specifically, we are emphasizing the mechanisms by which people develop insulin resistance. If your body has plenty of insulin to go around and do the job, why is the insulin not causing that effect? Insulin resistance occurs at some point. People went to the military service when obviously they didn't have diabetes, they didn't have insulin resistance. So most of our research is trying to determine when exactly is that the insulin resistance begins, and most importantly, can we prevent it? Can we do lifestyle interventions or use certain medications to prevent insulin resistance and therefore the development of diabetes type 2?
Fascinating. How can veterans here get involved?
We have a number of clinical trials and studies going on. If they contact our office, medical research, we can offer them all the information and try to find out a study that will be best suitable for them. A side effect of participating in one of these studies, which is a good side effect, is that patients tend to get a little bit more time with the investigators to discuss medical problems that sometimes they don't feel they have the necessary time to discuss over the phone with a nurse or any other person. We try to give the best attention to our veterans, but sometimes in the clinical trials they get a little bit of extra time and attention.
Well, that's definitely a win, I would think. Well, thanks for coming out and talking to us about it today.
Thank you, Paul.
That's it for another episode of To Your Health. Remember, you can find more information about the topics in today's show by going online to the Phoenix VA Healthcare System website at phoenix.va.gov. I'm Paul Coupeau. Thanks for watching.